Hi, my friends. Today, I'm so excited to bring to you this guest, Dr. Sangeeta Pati. She is going to talk to us all about different ways to take care of ourselves. And I know that's a big, strong thing that we do on here. And she has a 5-point model method that's amazing. So, first of all, welcome, Dr. Pati. I appreciate you
Thank
taking
you.
time being here.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And before we dive into the 5-point model and all of that, can you just tell our listeners a little bit about who you are um, and what how'd you get there? Like right now you're in Costa Rica, which I'm really, really jealous about. But who are you and where are you
Okay.
right now?
Okay. Well, um, just really who I am. I'm a lover,
Yeah.
a seeker, an educator, a teacher, somebody who wants to empower people to heal themselves, a lover of animals, and yes, I am an OBGYN and I'm board certified as an obstetrician gynecologist and also in integrative medicine, which is a new field now that you can actually get board certified in. As far as my story and how I got here, I was born in the United States, educated partly in the US, partly in places in Europe, and partly in India in a boarding school where my um, love of singing, dancing, art, and competitive sports altered to the field of medicine because I hit a deadly disease and went into a coma. And it took me like almost a year to get out of a wheelchair. So that altered the course because really I was headed for the other stuff.
Yeah.
And I got educated in medicine in the United States at University of Maryland and Georgetown. And I was in private practice in DC when I realized I just wanted something a little bit more. And I started to work with a nonprofit in the Safe Motherhood Project to reduce maternal deaths in the villages around the world. Because around the world, women deliver many times and die and leave their kids behind. So I had the amazing honor of traveling by foot to many villages in Nepal, Bangladesh, India, all through Africa, Latin America. And here I am, like 10 years into practicing medicine with the way I learned at Georgetown and all this. And I had the biggest eye opening because I realized that the traditional birth attendants in these villages were not using pharmacy and surgery, and yet their results were great. It was passed down information. And it was then that I came back and quit um, the practice of conventional medicine, realizing that there's a much wider toolbox of options that really doesn't need a doctor. And it's not like there are some things that definitely need the pharmacy or the surgery, but there is just a wide toolbox of options that can empower people. So when I quit, I was on this quest, and that is what finally led me to the spot I am today, which is 22 years into the practice of empowering people to get in the driver's seat for their own health without doctors. So using doctors minimally, let's put it that way.
First of all, I love your answer about who you are because so often we just say, "Oh, I'm a mom," or "Oh, I'm a teacher," or my answers. But we really are these well-rounded people who have so many passions, and that you brought all of those passions that you listed in the beginning into where you are right now is just really truly amazing. And also, I love the thought of handing down the stories and handing down the toolbox to people to empower them. What an amazing gift you're able to give to somebody by doing that.
Thank you. I feel like it's just a reminder of the things we already knew.
Yeah.
All of us know within us and within our hearts, we have the program of what it is, the gifts that we were born with that we can use. It's just we don't end up using it because we're sort of taught that you should go to the doctor or something like that. And then all of a sudden, we don't even realize that we have magic.
Yeah. Yeah, a big part of what I try to say here on my podcast and with my clients and people that I work with is to take the time to listen to your body because I am somebody who has Crohn's disease and I've had cancer and I've had a lot of doctors that have done good. but also a lot of the stuff that they have put me on with no fault of their own has just been stuff that didn't work right in my body. But I really had to take the time to slow down and listen to my body and be like, what is my body actually trying to tell me? What does it need? Because so often I find when I give it that time, my body actually shows me what I need.
Oh, 100%. The information is within us, and we, don't necessarily know how to tap into it, but you have obviously figured out how to tap into it, which is
Right.
really a big power, right?
Mhm.
In quiet, we can all tap into it. And for me, I find that the information that's in the field is available to all of us, and we can tap into it better for me when I'm surrounded by mountains and nature and, you know, can feel the presence of source. Then I feel like I'm getting the downloads that I need to get for myself.
Yeah. Oh, nature's so important, so important. So now maybe you could tell us a little bit about your 5-point model system because we were talking very briefly before this started about how um just your whole body, like taking care of yourself is your whole mind, body, and soul. And I feel like your 5-point model system really brings this together. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Yeah. And I love what you said, mind, body, soul. It really is true that this concept that we think of as holistic is really about empowering ourselves to, with all the tools, to address the root causes of mind, body, and spirit imbalances. And when I got into the field of integrative medicine, I started attending all these different conferences and realized that there were thousands of tests, thousands of supplements, thousands of different treatments. It was no easier than conventional approaches because they had made it just so complicated. So I was looking for the simple pillars, and I found 5 simple pillars, which really allowed us to guide the patients and the people to get into the driver's seat. And they were very simple. So I started out in hormones because I'm a gynecologist. Suzanne Summers had written about bioidentical hormones. I was like, okay, she's onto something. So I read the book and I started to learn about bioidentical hormones. And the biggest eye opener was that hormones are so simple because it has nothing to do with the ovaries that are at what I call the tip of the iceberg. If you think of the hormones as a pyramid, the ovaries are at the top, under it is the thyroid, and the base is the adrenals. So if the adrenals are off, everything above it is off. It's kind of like a food pyramid, right? So hormones was easy, and we did that. And at that time, only 5% of people had adrenal problems, but now 90% of people have it. This is 22 years later. The next pillar became nutrition. And I had, knew that nutrition was important, but in medical school, they never teach you anything about nutrition. And of course, you start to learn. So the first thing I learned was that food was your best source because it was packaged like vitamin C with flavonoids, not just vitamin C. And I started doing thousands of nutritional tests on people and realized that because our soil is so dirt poor, we don't really have the right nutrition. We're not at the 75th percentile, which is optimal. And so I started to add 50 of zinc and 200 of selenium and chromium and whatever needed to activate the hormones. And they got excellent results, but they were on 5 different bottles, and a lot of the bottles had junk in it. So it was that moment at which I was like, okay, let's take out the junk, put it in one bottle, and have something for hormones that people don't have to do everything. So hormones and nutrients became 2 basic pillars. Then the third one was detoxification, which the best way to detoxify is 100 ounces of water with pink salt and lemon. Extremely simple and powerful. Then the fourth one was just deep body oxygenation. 68% of our body is oxygen by molecules. And when we lead very fast lives, modern life, which I call man's greatest disease, we're also in the spot where we're um, not breathing deeply, we're breathing shallow. And that makes a big difference to the nervous system. It's not just about oxygenation, it's about how is the vagus nerve either activated or not. And the vagus nerve is the nerve that heals basically everything in the body, right? And then the fifth area, which I consider to be the most important area, is the status of the heart mind. Do you have joyful purpose? Are you engaged in activities and associations that fire you up, or have you accepted the past and energies that don't necessarily work for you today on this new earth? So those are the five areas. What we found is if you optimize each one of those areas to the 75th percentile, not the normal range, thyroid's not supposed to be in the normal range, it's supposed to be in the 75th percentile, same with all the rest of them. The body turns on innate self-healing. It turns its own healing on. And of course, you probably are a living testament to what I'm saying right now, as am I, because I have continued to hit all kinds of deadly diseases, which I call blessings. Um, but these are five pillars. They're just so basic. But as I say, joyful purpose is the key. And in modern life, we've almost lost that concept. And our heart, mind stress is killing us, right?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I have a lot of things to come back to, but first I will say I absolutely believe that because if you don't know, I also have a thing called 5 Gs, which are grace and gratitude and grit and glee and gal gangs. And that is really about that mind heart balance that you're talking about, I think, is
Yes,
every
yes,
day kind of finding those
yes.
in my life and living towards those.
Yeah,
Definitely appreciate.
100%.
I also do deep breaths every day with people. So I just like pop online and I take a breath. But are you telling me that the breaths, I knew about like the vagus nerve and other reasons, but does it also detoxify you? Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try that.
the
That's
breath is probably, conscious breath is probably one of the most underutilized simple tools that we have.
love that.
So whatever you're doing, it's doing a lot more than just giving you more oxygen. It's
Yeah.
actually balancing the sympathetic nervous system and bringing it down and allowing the vagus nerve and parasympathetic to go up. And this is the one that's rest, repair, and digest and fix your genes and mutations. And this is the one that does the opposite, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so going back to the hormone part, you said that there was a pyramid and that adrenals are really not doing very good right now in our society. Can you tell me a little bit about that and maybe how we could help them?
Yes. So I consider modern life to be man's greatest disease at this time. The way we live, the culture we're brought up in, which is a very go, go, go culture, an opportunity-based culture where don't even know how to say no because we're always hit with so many things. And so what's happened is if you look, for example, at the long living cultures, long thriving, I don't know if you've heard of the blue zones, but the blue zones where people live longer lives that are productive and fit, do they even consider using hormones? No.
Yeah.
Do they crash and burn when they hit menopause or perimenopause? No. But simply because the adrenals, which on top of it is the thyroid, and then the ovaries, which I call the tip of the iceberg, this axis is intact. So the nervous system, which is the sympathetic nervous system in our society, is running high all the time. It's called a chronic stress response. So we're not getting a chance to really recover. And so slowly over time, that response ends up depleting the hormones and the nutrients.
Mm.
And in fact, we see it even in very young women now, even in the 20s and the teens. I'm seeing women whose progesterone levels are zero simply because the progesterone is making cortisol because they're in a stress response. And this is why so many young women right now have weird irregular periods, PMS, endometriosis, fertility issues, mood swings, panic attacks, suicide stuff. It's it's really sort of a crisis and an epidemic, and it's really one of the reasons why I shifted my focus from my patients to being mostly kids in the teens and 20s because I feel like they are in the biggest crisis. And um, what can you do? You asked me what you can do. So
Yeah.
to get back to that, the very first thing to do is to take stock of the things that you have in your life and say no to the things that are not feeding what I call the golden circle of you. And I actually might have a diagram of that here. But what that means is like, we have primary, secondary, and tertiary priorities, right? And if we actually do an exercise where it's so silly, it's so simple, but we put ourselves in the middle. This is not a color format of it, but it's the color format. This is gold. And you put
Okay.
all the priorities that are you, that feed you in the middle, and you kind of say no to the secondary and tertiary. It makes it easy to figure out what to say no. So that's the first thing, because that lowers the speed of the nervous system and preserves your reserve. It
Mm.
preserves your hormones, it preserves your nutrients. So that's one huge thing. Um, but let me tell you a little bit about what I found moving to Costa Rica and what happened to me. That 5-point model that I described to you still required go to a doctor, get your hormones checked, get your nutrition checked. It's kind of disempowering and it's also quite expensive. And it didn't work for the kids of my patients. And I was lucky enough to totally burn out and be flat on my back. I came to Costa Rica. This was in 2010, 2011. And I started to realize that here, the 5-point model system is the 5 elements.
Mm.
It's getting in the sun,
Yeah.
which in the morning, which stimulates the cortisol awakening response. It's putting your feet in the earth and declotting the blood and the inflammation, and
Mm.
also correcting the cortisol response. The third one is conscious oxygenation. The fourth one is structured water, which we can structure with our intention. It's actually like blessing the water, but the structure works better in your body when it is blessed or intended. And then the fifth one is they live balanced lives with joyful purpose and connection to nature.
Mm.
And the connections are critical because many of us sit in our little spaces and don't really connect to humans. And if you look at Harvard studies, they're showing that out of all the factors, diet, exercise, food, I mean, all the different factors that affect chronic disease, social isolation is the top one.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so it's the simple things you can do without
Yeah.
ever going to anyone is ground yourself, get naked, get in the sun, drink some water, bless it, breathe, you
Right.
know,
I
yeah.
mean, really, I feel like that could be less than a 5-minute ritual that you do, that you allow yourself to do every day. Whether I'm in Vermont, so I have to be like, okay, it sounds nice to stand outside, but also there's
Yes.
many months where I can't. But what
Yes.
if I stood every morning? I got up, I grabbed a glass of water, stood in front of a window, so I'm looking outside and letting some
Yes.
light on me,
Yes.
took
Yes.
some deep breaths, and said,
Hmm.
"Thank you for this water," and drank it. Like I'm encompassing a whole bunch of things within 5 minutes.
Exactly the exercise that we recommend to everybody.
Ah,
And also, and it is empowered, like especially among my teenagers and early 20s. I have people who initially were on antidepressants and things like that, and then we managed with some progesterone and magnesium and breathing to get them off of those things. But
mhm.
then when they started using the 5 elements, they even
Yeah.
got off of that magnesium and progesterone because the body's an amazing thing. It has the capacity to heal. And sometimes people say, "Do you treat diabetes? Do you treat hypertension?" I'm like, we don't treat anything. When you optimize each of those areas, your body turns on innate self-healing and it does it on its own. It's a
Yeah.
miraculous thing.
And I can also see where that in the morning, just doing those simple 5 things that you just listed in the morning is going to put a smile on your face. And really that mind shift in the morning, because talking about your adrenals and being busy, like there's so many times in the morning where if I don't catch myself, I'm like, oh, I didn't sleep good last night, or like, oh, this is going to be a bad day. And I'm already starting my day busy and negative and not looking forward to the day. But if I took that time to be grateful and to stand and get the light on me and to drink the water, like you just start your day with a smile.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that. It's all about the feeling because the feelings in the heart are programming the cells,
Mm.
and the feelings in the heart are measurably going 12 to 15 feet outside of your body in an electromagnetic field, which means that they're actually contagious to everyone that we're around, right? So yeah, I love what you just said about that 5 minutes. I call it pause to reconnect.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely true. And the other thing is like we've really underestimated it. The sun, it turns out that we can photosynthesize energy from the sun's energy because it turns out that the sun's energy separates the water crystals in the body and makes a battery. So
Mhm.
we charge up with the sun just like a plant gets its energy from the sun, and it's underutilized. It's like cover yourself with sunscreen and all this crazy stuff. So yeah, I think that would really, it would be cool for you to do that and then see what it feels like. That's one of the things I do every day. And yes, if I'm somewhere where it's rainy or something, it doesn't matter because you're still getting the light rays that are natural. And if you can go outside, great. If you can't, then, it's intention,
Yeah.
intention, intention. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Especially we can have a couple dark months here in Vermont, and when the sun comes out, everybody's like, "Wow, we have so much energy!" And it's like, yeah, like we literally have more energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. So you have also like you also have, I just want to go into like what you offer people so that when they're listening to this and they are totally understanding what you're saying, because this makes so much sense to me and it's something I do in my life as well. What do you have to offer
Okay.
people? Mm-hmm.
Well, I am the medical director for a medical center called Glow Spring Health, for people who are really looking for a doctor. But I prefer to recommend that one try to get in the driver's seat for your own health without a medical center. And it's not that hard. I share a lot of these tips I talked about, the science behind it, on an Instagram channel called Take My Power Back Initiative, aimed at empowering people. And on that, we also share protocols that I have developed over many years, like the simplest protocols for a healthy gut, or for vibrant energy, or for restorative sleep, healthy weight. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And what I also have developed is about 15 years ago. You remember I was telling you that story about measuring nutrition and realizing the amounts that people needed to correct it.
Yeah.
And with a lot of trial and error, we figured it out and put it into one bottle. So that bottle started out as sort of a multi that is essentials 5-in-1, which has, now it's called Essentials Multi, but it's vegetable capsule, no dye, no preservative. All of the formats are exactly the formats for hormonal and metabolic activation. So for adrenal, thyroid, and um, ovaries, pancreas, all of it, and testicles. It's for men and women. It comes in a little glass bottle, and people really feel the difference when they take it. I honestly believe it's also because we bless every batch with a specific ceremony that we do. Then another product I have put in there is Adrenal Forte, and most of these products were made around my own hesitation to swallow too many pills.
Mhm.
So when I burnt out, I was on all these adrenal supplements, and it was such a pain. And I knew there was a way to condense it. So that's what happened. And Adrenal Forte came together to support adrenal and thyroid.
Yeah.
So that company is called MD Prescriptives, and you can see it on mdprescriptives.com. But the main idea behind that is to have the simplest protocols and the lowest number of supplements, to make the biggest difference. And then to empower you with the breathing and everything else so that you don't need those supplements. Because the number one supplement that is used in the United States right now is magnesium.
Mhm.
And there's a very good reason for it. It's because our nervous systems are running so fast. And when I looked for magnesium, I finally found one that was in Belgium. that was called acetyltaurinate, which had a much better effect than the other ones I tried out. And so we were the first ones that actually brought it in the country. And what it does is it slows down the burn. So you know how I said the most powerful thing you can do is say no and slow down the nervous system? Put your
Yeah.
feet in the earth, look at the sun. But if you have to take something, the number one supplement is going to be magnesium. And magnesium acetyltaurinate is the form that has the best effect on the brain and the nervous system. So I'm kind of a minimalist. I always like to look for that little drop that creates the big ripple. So I have kept this supplement company, MD Prescriptives, alive for 17 years, even though I went through many periods selling bottles for much less than what it cost us to make them. Um, Obviously, somebody needs a math lesson, but I'm really inspired by all the things I hear and all the people that have done well with it. So yeah, so those, right now, that's what I'm offering. I'm offering advice on Take My Power Back so that people can, and protocols, and then we have a supplement company, which I think is amazing. People who usually use even one of each of those supplements tell me immediately that they feel the difference. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. As someone who takes supplements, it's nice to know like taking less and means you're taking less junk in each one. So yeah, that's
And
amazing.
we took out the preservatives, dyes, fillers, mag steroid, all of it. So
Yeah.
actually, that's what allows you to fit it in one bottle. You know,
Mm,
I don't know if you know, but the reason why they put those flow agents in is because the manufacturing process is faster with it.
mm,
But of course, it's not, ideal for any part of our body. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like taking something good with also something bad instead of just taking something good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And ultimately, you don't even want to be on supplements. Like if once we get to the point where our nervous system is balanced, we
Mhm.
don't need them. Good.
Yeah. So there is a question that I ask everybody who comes on here. Because the podcast is called Nurture Herself. So, what is something that you do on a daily basis? I would say, other than those things that we just listed, which are amazing. What's something that you do daily that you do to nurture yourself?
It's more of a philosophy
Yeah.
uh, of self-love and acceptance of anything I want to do.
Mm.
Um, I eat what I want. I do what I want. And I obviously there's responsibilities, but I really give myself a lot of permission to be me and to do the things that bring me to life. Um, the pause we talk about. I hit menopause about 5 years ago, and that pause is the pause to recognize how special the rest of this life is and that it's the best of our life. So I don't want it anything in it that I don't love. So so if
Oh,
I don't love something, I just say no and move on to something else.
yeah. Well, a great way to reframe the pause in menopause too. It really takes it again, that mindset shift to something more positive. And yeah, it's your time to say yes to things that make you feel good and make your body feel good.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that light your heart up, Amanda. That's what I've learned, and that's how I feel personally.
Oh, yes. Okay. I love that philosophy. I'm going to take you up on that and I'm going to try very hard to do that. Very
It's like unrelentingly pamper yourself, because
cool.
usually most of us have gotten here, especially women who have had a lot of different health opportunities, is what I call them, have gotten here through taking care of others and maybe not paying so much attention to our own little, hello, your body needs some support. So at this point, I'm like, the best version of myself is the best thing I can ever do for the world. That's the best ripple effect is the
Mhm.
emotions in my heart being in a place of joy and love. That's what I'm going to spread. So there's
Yeah.
nothing selfish about it. So get in the
No.
tub, get a massage, take time for an Epsom salt bath, light the candles, do the lavender, sing and dance, play, all of that.
Yeah. Because when your energy frequency is higher, it
Mm.
radiates out to more and more people. So you're
Yeah,
totally doing the world really good things when you take care of yourself.
exactly.
Oh, oh, thank you so much. I just align with so much with what you say and what you share and offer. So thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And if there's anything you want to reach out to me for, just I'm here. You got my email.
Yeah. And for all of you listening, thank you for listening. I will have all her information down below. Definitely, I'm going to start following Take My Power Back for sure. That sounds so amazing. So, all of you go out there and listen for that. And like I always say, choose yourself. And I love you. And I'll talk to you soon.
I love you too.